Well, hey, 5 days until Final Fantasy 15 comes out, or at least here in the UK. I'll probably get this video up around about 11:30 midnight, but it's 6:23 here, so there's still 5 days left. I don't know what time zones you guys are in, but 5, let's go from here. So day number 5, Final Fantasy 5. Now there's not many Easter eggs from this game, but hell, the game's not even out yet, so by the time we've done more quests and hunts and yada yada yada, there'll probably be way more Easter eggs for me to point out to you guys. But just looking at some of the Greek mythology, Final Fantasy 5 had a lot of Greek mythology in it, especially in its monster roster. Just going through some of them quickly, there were Nereids, and they were based on female spirits of water or sea nymphs. They were often the ones that were accompanying Poseidon, and they were very distinct from sirens, and they were often friendly and helpful to sailors. It also had Gyguses, or Gygus, what's the plural for it? Gygusi, and that was a popular term for giants. It also had Gorgomera, which is a blended term of Gorgon and Chimera, Gorgon being the Medusa in Greek mythology, and of course Chimera. Ghidra, which is a by-name for Hydra. Minotaurs, well, we all know the story with those lads. Lamia Queen, who was once a Liberian queen, a beautiful one, who got transformed into a child-eating demon in Greek mythology. Hades, Greek god of the underworld. Gilgamesh, who played a huge story in FF5. Gilgamesh, he comes from the Epic of Gilgamesh, which is also kind of Greek related. It's from an epic poem from ancient Mesopotamia, which is kind of modern day Iraq / Syria, and even that was kind of Greek in culture, as that region was ruled by Alexander the Great for a long time before it became the Greek Seleucid Empire. The way the poem goes, it's basically about a king of Uruk, who he was given a companion called Enkidu, who was a wild man created by the gods specifically to stop Gilgamesh from ever oppressing his people. After an initial fight, Gilgamesh and Enkidu then become close friends. They journey to the Cedar Mountains, they defeat Humbaba, which is a monstrous guardian. Later they kill the Bull of Heaven. It all goes down. It's such a vague poem, and it's really obviously not that well spread because not many people know the story. It's just interesting how Gilgamesh has become such a staple in our franchise, yet his origins come from very obscure real world culture. And the reason I bring in all this up is because Greek mythology, and just mythologies in general, is something that is appearing very heavily in 15. Very heavily. I'd say even more than other Final Fantasy. We've got Shakespearean, we've got Arthurian legend, we've got Hindu, we've got a lot of Latin, we've got Greek mythology, we've got lots of Norse mythology. I've done so many theory videos on mythologies and how that could be influencing the story of FF15. From the sons of Odin to Norse fairies in the woods and back again, I've covered loads. And another very obscure one who I've talked about was the Corleonis theory, and I just want to bring that back up because just like Gilgamesh and Enkidu, Yohimbo and Daigoro was another very obscure thing. My theory has been that Corleonis could be Daigoro. Again, for anyone who can't remember, Corleonis, it means lion heart. I believe he could be an astral, some sort of immortal, and how Daigoro, the only summon we've really had that as a lion, is Daigoro. Of course we've had Griever, but Daigoro I particularly honed in on because it also means fifth son. Fifth son, that only came out to me after I did a 4 Sons of Odin, and I was saying how I wanted to make Corleonis and find a son for him because Corleonis has always been this 5th member of the group. He's the 5th member in Noctis's party, he was the 5th member in King Regis's party, and how he seemed to have guided all these brotherhoods. Now I'm sticking by my guns that I do think he's an immortal. The fact that he has that katana, which king has wielded this katana? Because one of the armature weapons is a katana. How is that linking up to Corleonis? And just going on that Corleonis theory even further, I even linked that back to that old Daigoro movie, the Japanese one in 1971, and that corresponded precisely with Corleonis' age of 42. Because Corleonis, he first appeared, his first ever trailer was a 2013 trailer, which made him exactly 42 years old at the point that the Daigoro, or 42 years since that Daigoro movie was made. And a lot of people doubted that the Square Enix would be looking at something as obscure as a Daigoro movie from 1971, and I said that I really don't think so. And this kind of is just a time for me to really emphasise that we've had a lot of lore from Final Fantasy come from obscure backgrounds, like that Gilgamesh one, like the story Yojimbo and Enkidu. It just goes to show this is something Square Enix has done with the FF franchise for a long time, in monster names, in stories, in references, and I can't wait to see just how much of it unfolds in the game. Siliconera just a few hours ago posted up these 5 pictures of these exclusive and really random boxes that Square Enix are shipping out at random in weird quantities. This isn't what the standard box like. They decided to have a bit of fun and make it look like the packaging had been torn so that you could actually see into the box and see the game, but in fact it's just printed on the top of the box. 5. Persona 5. It got a huge sales boost because of Final Fantasy 15, and the reason for it, Final Fantasy 15's delay. Persona 5, which had only been ranked at 12th/15th place on pre-orders on the Movies and Shakers rankings, it leapt up from 15th to number 3 within 24 hours of the delay news coming out. That's a 450% boost. That's crazy. EW.com did a 5 facts about Kingsglaive, and one of them blew me away. Kingsglaive was worked on by 50 different companies. 50! Sweet banana jam puffs. And while we're on Kingsglaive, Games Radar actually gave Kingsglaive a clean 5 out of 5 on its score. But enough of all this positivity. I'm British and we do like a good win, so let's focus on something absolutely what I consider to be retarded, and that was Screw Attacks, or what someone wrote on Screw Attacks, should I say, an article that appeared on there, which was top 5 reasons I'm losing interest in FF15. Now, number 5, the wait. Okay, I can give you a free pass on that one. I suppose the wait, it was a bit too excessive and long, that you may have lost interest. Personally, I've enjoyed it, but that's not the one I want to focus on. This one, number 4, the very long story. This person actually complains that 40 hours is too long, and that is one reason why they're not interested in 15. Now, that blew my mind, but I'd like to say this was a one-off instance. But there was actually a poll done where 70% of gamers said that they believe the optimal game time is around about 15 hours and that 40 hours plus is too long. Now, I think I might be alone here, but what the fuck, people? If one of my Final Fantasies was only 15 hours long, man, I would be bummed. This is really scary news, that there's this growing trend that gamers seem to be a lot more attracted to games that only have 10 to 15 hour playthrough times. I really hope this doesn't set a precedent. I don't know if I'm alone on this one, but fuck 15 hour playthrough times. I really hope that Final Fantasy sticks to its 40 hour playthrough times. Next point, a little too close to realism. So yeah, the person complains that 15 is a little bit too close to realism. Now, their points in general are just kind of shitty, I feel. The kind of one that I can sort of relate to was the apprehension that it might be too realistic, that there won't be things like cactuas, moogles, and sort of the high fantasy stuff we see in Final Fantasy. But we can safely say that Final Fantasy 15 is definitely not that. This game is super high fantasy. I mean, it is. Look at Final Fantasy 15, it is super high fantasy. And this is the thing that kind of bugs me about what some people say about 15. They come up with all these reasons why they're not interested in 15 or why it won't be good or to their taste, but it's purely assumption. It's just 100% assumption. And there's so many people, I've heard on the internet, they just put themselves off the game on things they've made up in their own heads, on fucking speculation. You literally don't know what this game is about. Half the things I've heard, I'm just saying to people, you're chatting shit, mate. You don't even know that's in the game. There's so many people want to find negatives in 15, and half the time they resort to total made up bullshit to do that. Right, let's continue on. Number 2. The new trailers don't help, and this was a total jab at the Dawn trailer, the one where it was just that what I found really grounded, I found it quite striking and quite profound. I thought it was very profound, where Noctis and Regis, they were just hugging, and Regis was mourning his son's fate. And for me, that trailer was great. I'd actually stick that trailer in one of possibly my top 5. And this is the thing, this person just doesn't get it. I mean, even in the rest of the article, they're waffling about Metal Gear Solid in Call of Duty, and it's just what I see as encompassing everything that's wrong and why RPGs aren't getting the love they deserve or need, and why I hope 15 really breaks this trend. This notion that every trailer has to be explosive and crazy and insane and adrenaline rushing, and the music has to be done by the latest hot shit EDM DJ, and it just seems like the stories that I love and the stories that I grew up with, the ones that would emotion and relationships and character development and these really intricately woven story arcs that didn't necessarily have to hit the ground running within 5 minutes. They could build up over 10 hours. Not everything had to be catered to low attention span bitches, which again ties with people saying that they only like their stories on average being 15 hours long. I really hope that FF15 can make an impactful difference and really turn around or do a U-turn on where I think the general direction of the mindset of gamers is going. And the final point of my 5-point ranterino is they erased Stella. This person legitimately says they were pretty much off buying Final Fantasy 15 completely. Their number one reason was because they erased Stella. Now I've never really addressed this point, but I'm going to come out and say it. Yes, Stella looked great. That black skirt did look good. I liked Stella's model, but Luna looks just as good, and yes, the Versus 13 trailers were good, but how could you say that you prefer Stella? We knew nothing about her. Let's just get to the facts of it. Let's just be realistic. People say this all the time about Stella. You didn't know anything about her, so why are you complaining? Yes, I'm one of those people saying it because it's just true. You knew nothing about her. Her story arc could be the same as Luna's. Luna could be stronger. Luna could be more independent. This person kind of says, oh, the reason I like Stella more over Luna was because Stella and Noctis had a love interest going on. Well, that literally makes no sense. Luna just has even more from what I can see. I mean, literally more. Literally more. Well, we didn't know that Stella and Noctis knew each other when they were younger. We do know that Luna and Noctis, they're also getting married. Luna has also shown that she actually likes Noctis. All we saw of Stella was her fighting him. I mean, all of this was just sort of made up shit in your head that Stella and Noctis were this really close couple. We've never actually seen it. We've seen way more of it on Luna, and the fact that in the Omen trailer fight, where Luna is just trying to defend against Noctis rather than fight him back, after everything she did in Kingsglaive for the Lucis household, for Regis and for Noctis, after all the things she said to Gentiana about how I will support Noctis and I'll be there for him and I'll help him, and how she's still got all these feelings and she embraces that book in that trailer, the one that she writes to Noctis to. Where is this coming from, that Stella was somehow closer to Noctis? I mean, there is literally nothing to support that. And yeah, these 5 points were just totally stupid. I had to point them and rant about them. And unfortunately, this isn't just one guy. These are recurring points of stupidity. Give the damn game a chance and stop trying to find negatives or stop trying to find reasons not to buy it on things that you have fantasized in your own brain. You motherfuckers. Justice Monsters 5, that glorious little pinball game mini-game that we are going to actually get to play in Final Fantasy 15. Never fear people, it did get confirmed, it's not just a mobile game, it will be fully implemented in FF15. And I was just looking at it on Final Fantasy Wikia and I think that's me. This is a pinball machine at the IG event in London, 22nd November, and that looks a lot like me. I'm a Wikipedia, mum! Man, I'm looking forward to Justice Monsters 5, and I know I've talked about the summons in there. That does have Doom Train in there, it does have Odin, it does have Bahamut, it does have Diablos, who's been one that we've all kind of speculated, could he be in the game? I kind of said I don't think he is, I think it's just Bahamut and not Diablos, but he could be, because I do think that the summons are relevant in that. I know I've got this picture up from Justice Monsters 5, the Shiva, and I said that looks like a lot like Gentiana, which when I tally that up with the bazillion other links to Gentiana Shiva, that's how I came to the conclusion a long time ago that I think Gentiana will be Shiva. Some people have said that Justice Monsters 5 isn't relevant in terms of summons, or they don't think it will be. So we'll see how that pans out, guys. And rounding out day 5, this all-in-one Fun Fantasy 15 article which covered 5 interviews all in one, and that was on Square Portal, along with this really gorgeous picture. This is a very new one and this is nice. Of course Luna's holding the trident there. God, this just looks dope. There's some floating feathers. You'll see that there's like blue petals. I think that might represent Gentiana. Kind of gives me a fear over what might happen to Gentiana. You see that Luna's kind of staring at it, and we did see that trident being used in the Noctis Leviathan fight. He kind of went up in the air and he sort of brought it down on Leviathan's fin. Man, that was super dope. But in this all-in-one article, there's just a few points I want to pick out. So the dynamic weather system, how we're going to have this really intricate weather system that makes some real effects and changes in the game. So when I was at the London event, they even said that all the characters with sort of like Noctis' spiky hair, for example, when it rains, you'll sort of see his hair begin to sag a bit. There was even things about how the fishing will change when it's wet, and how just the general environment will really interact with the weather system. The day-night cycles, 1 day in the game equals 30 minutes in the real world. I kind of thought it was an hour, but it's not. Which then goes hand in hand with the new fact about Adamantoise. Oh man, the size of that thing is crazy. Tabata actually revealed that it will take 30 in-game days to beat Adamantoise, which therefore that means that in the real world that's 15 hours, which contradicts the 72 hours that was reported on the Conan show. So maybe it will take 15 hours of actually fighting yourself, but you'll only be able to do it over 72 hours. That's kind of what I think might be happening. All I know is that there's been too much said about the Adamantoise taking ridiculous length of time to kill for it not at this point to be true. And the rest of the article just goes on to detail all the 5 articles in one, things that we already know. So things about the graphics, the engine, that the car, it'll be an airship, we can fly it, Noctis is a weapon summoner, there'll be optional dungeons, all things that we've already covered here on Final Fantasy Peasant. But at the end of this, Tabata said, the one thing I want to point out is his regards for the fans. He said that with all the problems that they've overcome for the development, he hopes that everyone gives this game a chance. That really ties in with what I said earlier, just give the damn game a chance and stop being a little whiny bitch. I bet Tabata wishes he could say that, so I'll say it for him. And that he also just hopes that fans would restart the counting of the development time from when he joined the team in 2012. And that in terms of development, it hadn't really had much going. And I think him saying that does kind of emphasise sort of what I've been saying, that it must be very he must feel like it's very unfair to him that he's had to pick this up, that he's kind of got this slack of the 6 years before that he weren't even working on it, that he has to kind of be responsible for that now. So by goddamn, I'm telling you all to do it, restart it for Tabata. And yeah, just give the game a chance. And let's really hope, like I said, that Final Fantasy 15 can really bring something new to the gaming industry that I feel has been absent for a while. Let me know if you're in the comment section how you feel about those points, on the 5 points, on sort of how you see the general sort of gaming climate going, and what you feel about the general attitude of gamers today. I'd be interested in for some external opinions on that. So that's day number 5, guys. Oh god, also day 4 for some of you, maybe for me by the time I post this. Oh guys, I mean, how many hours is that? 24, 48, 90, 96 hours is 4 days, right? Man, this is crazy. Pretty soon it's going to be the same time of a countdown that'll be to kill an Adamantoise. 72 hours. That's insane. Until the next video, ladies and gentle peasants. Kumo!
I like good pussy and I like good trees. Smoke so much weed you wouldn't believe, and I get more ass than a toilet seat. 3 to the 1, from the 1 to the 3. I met a bad bitch last night in the deep. Let me tell you how I made her leave with me. Conversation and NC. I've been to the motherfucking mountaintop. Heard motherfuckers talk, seen them drop. If I ain't got a weapon, I'ma pick up a rock. And when I bust your ass, I'm gonna take you to rock. Get your ass on the wall with your 2 left feet. It's real easy, just follow the beat. Don't let that fine girl pass you by.